You're standing on the mat. The screed just died. 3 trucks are backed up behind you. 25 tons of hot asphalt in each one, cooling by the minute. Your Caterpillar paver just threw a code you can't clear. And the only man who can clear it is a dealer tech 90 minutes out, billing from the second he leaves the shop. That lockup wasn't a glitch. It was designed. European pavers are crushing Caterpillar right now, and it has almost nothing to do with horsepower. It's because the machine you bought was built to make you rent it back from the people who sold it. I know how it works. For years, I was the man who handed you that bill. Before we're done, I'll show you the deal signed in 2017 that put the best pavers on earth in the hands of the same company fighting farmers over the right to fix their own tractors. And I'll show you the federal report from May of 2021 that admitted the whole game out loud. If a lockdown cat is sitting in your yard tonight, stay with me, because the way out I found works on the iron you already own. I still remember a night outside Fresno in the summer heat, watching a foreman I'd sold to on the phone, begging a dispatcher to send someone before his whole shift's tonnage turned to gravel in the truck beds. I had his purchase order in my truck. I'd promised him uptime. That was the night I stopped believing my own pitch. Let me start with something nobody explains to you when you sign for a paver. The most expensive thing on a paving job is not the machine. It's not the fuel. It's not even the crew. It's time, measured against temperature. Hot mix asphalt leaves the plant somewhere around 300 degrees. You have a window, and that window is brutal. Once the mix drops below roughly 250 degrees, you can't compact it right. And once it slides under 230, it's scrap. A single truckload can carry 20 to 25 tons of material worth well over $2,000. When the paver stops, that clock does not. So here's the real math. A mid-sized paving crew with the paver, the rollers, the trucks, the operators, and the laborers can cost you between $2,000 and $5,000 for every single hour they stand still. I've watched crews lose an entire day. Do that arithmetic. A 4-hour breakdown doesn't cost you a repair bill. It costs you the repair bill, plus the wasted mix, plus the idle crew, plus the schedule you now blew with the general contractor who's holding a completion date over your head. Now here's why I'm telling you the money part first. Because when a paver goes down, every other machine on earth you'd just fix. A hydraulic line, a sensor, a bad connection. On a lot of Caterpillar machines, you can't. You physically have the wrench in your hand and you still can't, because the fault is locked behind software, and the software only answers to a dealer laptop. That's the moment the trust breaks. That's the moment I watched break on grown men's faces over and over for years, and I kept telling myself it was normal. It is not normal. It was built. Let me show you exactly how it was built, because once you see the pieces, you can't unsee them. The heart of it is a piece of software called CAT Electronic Technician, what the techs just call CAT-ET. It's the tool that talks to the machine's control modules, the EC-MIS, the brain of the paver, reading codes, clearing faults, changing critical parameters, calibrating the screed and the grade controls. In a fair world, if you own the machine, you'd own the ability to talk to it. You don't. Access to the full functionality, and especially the factory passwords needed to change certain protected settings, runs through the dealer. Independent shops have complained about this for years. You can sometimes buy limited access, but the deep functions, the ones that get you running again mid-shift, those stay locked in the yellow tent. And here's the part that took me too long to admit to myself. It's dressed up as safety. As protecting the machine's integrity, protecting emissions compliance, protecting you from your own mistakes. That's the brochure language. I use that language. But strip it down, and what you actually have is a lock on a door of a house you paid for, and the locksmith bills $185 to $250 an hour, portal to portal, before he touches a single bolt. Then there's the territory system, and this is the part that really turned my stomach once I understood it. Caterpillar doesn't sell to you directly. It sells through a network of independent dealers, and those dealers hold exclusive geographic territories. That means for your area, there is one dealer for parts, for service, for warranty, for the software. One. There's no second cat dealer down the road to undercut them on labor or beat them on a parts price. That's not an accident of the market. That's the structure. When you have one authorized source for the thing that keeps your machine legal and running, price competition doesn't exist. You take the number they give you. And then telematics close the loop. Product link, CAT's connectivity system, streams data off your machine, location, hours, fault codes, back to the network. Sold to you as convenience, as fleet management, as helping you plan maintenance. And some of that's genuinely useful, I won't pretend otherwise. But think about what it also does. The dealer often knows your machine has a problem before you finish cursing at it. The manufacturer knows how you run, where you run, and when you're vulnerable. The information about your own equipment flows toward them, and the ability to act on it stays with them. So put the three pieces together. Locked diagnostics, single source territory, constant data, every one of them profitable, every one of them sold as a benefit, and every one of them quietly transferring control of a machine you finance for hundreds of thousands of dollars away from your hands and into theirs. Someone profited from your trust. I was part of the someone. That's my confession, and I'm not done. But here's the question that should be burning in you right now. If the machine's so locked down, why did anybody put up with it? Because for a long time, there wasn't a better option sitting right there. That changed, and it changed from Europe. Let me tell you about a machine and a name that people in this business say with a kind of quiet respect that Caterpillar has never earned in paving. Vögele, a German maker, part of the Wirtgen Group. And in the world of asphalt pavers, they are the standard everyone else is measured against. In many markets around the world, Vögele holds the dominant share of the paver business, and it's not because of marketing. It's because the machine does the one thing that matters. It lays a better mat. Sit in one. The operating system is called Ergo Plus. Everything is logical, repeatable, built around the operator instead of around the dealer. There's a function called Auto Set Plus that lets you store your job settings and recall them, so when you move to a new pull, you're not eyeballing it back to spec. There's a system called PaveDock Assistant that manages the signal between the paver and the trucks, so you don't get those jarring bumps and stops when a truck docks. The screed heating is electric, and it heats fast and even across the whole width. And if you've ever fought a cold spot dragging behind a gas-heated screed, you understand why that alone sells machines. But the thing that matters most for this conversation isn't the mat, it's the philosophy. The European approach, driven partly by a different regulatory culture and partly by contractors who simply demanded it, treats the operator as the person in control of the machine. Service documentation is more accessible. The diagnostics don't hold your job hostage the same way. And the resale market tells the whole story with numbers, not opinions. Go pull auction records. A well-kept used Vögele holds its value in a way that makes owners of certain other brands sick to their stomachs. When resale stays strong, that's the market voting on which machines people trust to keep running. The market has been voting against the lock-in for years. Most owners just never saw the ballots. Now here's the twist that made me laugh out loud the day I finally connected it. A bitter kind of laugh. You know who bought Vögele and the entire Wirtgen Group in 2017? John Deere. The Wirtgen acquisition closed at a value of roughly $5.2 billion, the biggest purchase in Deere's history at the time. The exact same company that farmers have been at war with for a decade over the right to repair their own tractors now owns the finest pavers on the planet. Sit with that. The brand that fought hardest to lock down the American farmer went out and paid billions for the European machines that were built on a more open, operator-first philosophy. They didn't buy Vögele to change it. They bought it because that philosophy built the best product in the category. The proof of what works was sitting right there in their own checkbook. And that should make you angry, because it means they know. They've always known. The lockdown was never about building a better machine. If it were, they'd lock down the Vögele too. It was about the money that flows after the sale. If you want the full picture of how that money flows and exactly how the trust was engineered out of the transaction, I wrote it all the way down. The book is called Fixed or Owned, and there's also Break the Lock if you want to go deeper into the owner's playbook specifically. Both are linked in the description. I spent years inside the system before I understood it well enough to map it, and I put everything I couldn't say on a dealership floor into those pages. If tonight is the night you stop assuming the lock is total, that's where you start. Now, I know exactly who's still with me right now, and I need to talk straight to you for a minute. You're the one who already owns the cat. It's parked in your yard or on a lowboy headed to tomorrow's job. You bought it in good faith, you've got payments on it, and you're sitting there thinking this whole video is great for the next guy, but it does nothing for you tonight. I built this next part for you specifically because I spent years watching people in your exact spot get told they had no options. You have options. Let me give you real ones. First, and do this before you're broken down, not during. Get your machine's serial number and demand from your dealer in writing the exact list of what service functions and parameter changes require a factory password and which ones you or an independent shop can legally perform yourselves. Make them put it on paper. You will be shocked how much you were told was locked that actually isn't. Half the power of the lock is that you assumed it was total. It rarely is. Second, find your independent paving mechanic now, today, before harvest season of pavement hits. There are independent techs and shops that own diagnostic access and specialize in getting you running without the dealer's portal-to-portal clock. Build that relationship in the quiet season, not in a panic with 3 trucks steaming behind you. A relationship built in March saves you thousands in July. Third, own your data. Go into your product link or telematics agreement and understand exactly what's being transmitted and who can see it. In many cases, you have far more control over that data stream than you were led to believe, and you can request records of your own machine's history that the dealer has been using to plan their side of the conversation. Your machine's data is leverage. Right now, it's their leverage. Take it back. And fourth, the one that matters most for the long game. Every time your dealer hands you a bill, keep it. Every locked function, every forced visit, every hour of downtime with a dollar figure attached, build the file. Because the fight to make this illegal is being won right now, and documented owner experience is the ammunition. Which brings me to the people who are turning your grievance into law, and the document that proves the manufacturers knew all along. Because this stopped being just contractors grumbling on forums, it became federal. In May of 2021, the Federal Trade Commission delivered a report to Congress. It was titled Nixing the Fix. Go find it. It's a public document, and read it with your own machine in mind. The Commission studied repair restrictions across industries and concluded that manufacturers were limiting people's ability to repair their own equipment and, in the report's own tone, that there was scant evidence to justify most of those restrictions on the grounds companies claimed: not safety, not integrity, scant justification. And then the commissioners voted unanimously to ramp up enforcement against illegal repair restrictions. Unanimous. In a town that can't agree on lunch. Then came the farm side, and this is where the ag fight and your paving machine converge, because they are the same fight run by overlapping players. In January of 2023, John Deere signed a memorandum of understanding with the American Farm Bureau Federation, publicly promising to give farmers and independent shops better access to the tools, manuals, and diagnostics to repair their equipment. Sounds like a victory, but read who it protected: the manufacturer. Critics tore into it because it was voluntary, it had no real teeth, and in exchange the Farm Bureau agreed to back off pushing for actual right-to-repair laws. They wrote the terms of their own accountability and funded the goodwill that blessed it. That's the escalation I promised you at the start. It's not just that they profited from your trust. It's that when the pressure got real, they drafted the surrender document themselves and got the other side to sign it. But the states didn't all take the bait. In April of 2023, Colorado's governor signed the Consumer Right to Repair Agricultural Equipment Act, the first law of its kind in the nation, and it took effect on the first day of 2024. It forces manufacturers to provide the parts, the software, the tools, and the documentation to owners and independent shops. It has teeth, and it cracked the door open for every other category of lockdown equipment behind it, because once a legislature admits that a farmer owns his tractor's software, the argument that a contractor doesn't own his Pavers software starts to collapse. There's even active litigation. Deere has been fighting a consolidated antitrust case over repair services in federal court. Farmers alleging the whole locked repair system is an illegal scheme to monopolize the service market. The machine of the lock-in is finally being dragged into the daylight, under oath, with documents. So now you know the shape of it. The locked diagnostics, the single dealer territory, the data flowing one way, the voluntary agreement written to look like a fix. And the European machines, owned now by the very same giant, proving every single day that a manufacturer can build the best iron in the world without treating the owner like a thief. That's the betrayal, laid all the way open. Here's the part I was never supposed to hand you. Everybody in this argument fixates on repair. Can you fix it? Can't you fix it? Who holds the password? And while everyone's staring at the repair fight, they miss the move that actually beats the system, the one the smartest paving contractors I know have quietly been making for 3 or 4 years now. It's not a lawsuit. It's not waiting for your state to pass a law. It's the used European machine. Here's the buried piece. Because a used Vögele holds its value so strongly, and because the European service philosophy never locked owners out the way the domestic lock-in did, there is a growing pipeline of well-maintained used European pavers moving into the American market, and the total cost of ownership on one of them, over its working life, is quietly demolishing the numbers on a locked machine you'd buy new. You're not just buying a better mat. You're buying out of the trap entirely. Independent techs can service them. The parts network through the Wirtgen and broader European supply chain doesn't gatekeep the way you've been trained to expect. And when you're done with it, it sells for a number that makes your accountant smile instead of wince. And here's the part that's simple enough to do this week. Before you sign for any paver, new or used, domestic or European, you demand one document in writing and you make it a condition of the sale. You demand a full statement of repair access. What functions you can perform yourself. What software and diagnostic access comes with the machine or can be purchased outright, not rented forever. What the actual spelled out policy is on factory passwords for the EC-miss. The dealers who won't put it in writing are telling you everything you need to know, and the ones competing for the European sale will hand it to you gladly, because on those machines it was never a secret in the first place. That's the whole trick. The knowledge that you could demand this always existed. It was buried under brochure language about safety and integrity and convenience. The right to repair folks, the Colorado legislators, the contractors comparing resale spreadsheets in the back of the shop, they kept it alive when the manufacturers hoped you'd never ask. Now it's in your hands. You walk onto that lot as the buyer holding the terms instead of the borrower signing whatever's put in front of you. I spent years on the other side of that table. I know exactly how much power moves the second you ask for it in writing. Most owners never ask. You're not going to be most owners anymore. You didn't buy a machine to spend your life waiting on a dealer's laptop. You bought it to work, to build something, to answer to no one but the job in front of you. And that's exactly what they quietly took, one software lock and one signed agreement at a time. Tonight, you're taking it back. You're the kind of owner who believes that when you pay for a thing, it's yours, all the way down to the last line of code inside it. That's not old-fashioned. That's just right, and a whole lot of people are remembering it at the same time. So tell me one thing, and be specific, because I read these. What's the worst downtime bill you ever ate because you couldn't clear a code yourself, and what machine was it sitting in? Drop it in the comments right now. The brand, the number, and where you're paving from. Name it out loud, because every one of those stories is evidence, and the manufacturers are counting on you staying quiet. If you're done renting the iron you already bought, subscribe, and stand with the owners who are taking theirs back. Because next time I'm opening up the product link data trail, exactly what your machine is telling them about you every hour it runs, and how to shut the parts off you never agreed to share. You're going to want to see that one before your dealer does. For years, I handed you that bill. Now let me hand you the way out. This video showed you the trap. Inside my membership, the circle, I go all the way to the dealer-free recovery method for locked cat pavers, picking up right where I stopped. And you can ask me your own question, and a real person me answers you myself. You belong here with us. Just point your phone's camera at the code on the screen. Cancel any time. If you enjoyed learning about this, why not stay a little longer? Subscribe and look around the channel where you'll find plenty more stories just like this one, waiting right here for you.